Today's episode of the More You Know podcast features David Meltzer, who's the CEO of Sports One Marketing, a three-time international best-selling author, top 100 business coach, and host of the top entrepreneur podcast, The Playbook. Enjoy the episode.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
More
You
No
podcast.
Can you please explain the 7 interconnected principles that are applicable to our lives?
So these 7 principles are ones in which allow you to take every possibility, create a possibility, a probability, and make it your perspective. These 7 principles are the principles of manifesting everything you want in life and business. The word manifesting scares people, so just think of manifesting as voting or shopping for what you want. And so those principles are very simple. Number 1, the foundational values, personal experiential giving and receiving values. You must know your values and each day know the balance of those values in order to manifest what you want or shop for what you want or vote for what you want. The next is guideposts. You need to know and have clarity, balance, and focus in order to have the confidence to connect to the third principle of manifestation. Manifestation is inspiration. How do we manifest or allow things to happen? Shop for the things that we want. Do we have the green card of faith, the gold card of faith, the platinum card of faith, or the black card of faith? Are we utilizing our imagination principles in order to effectuate materialization? Once we become inspired, that possibility of knowing what we want becomes a probability. That's right, a mathematical advantage in our lives over just what we want. Inspiration itself gives us that mathematical advantage. We're clearing as well as cleaning the connection to that which inspires us. Now, moving from that inspiration principle into the next principle is very easy, and it's awareness. So we utilize awareness in order to effectuate what we do. If you look at what we pay attention to and put intention in, that's what creates the coincidences in our life, which is a mathematical occurrence of exactly what we want. 2 angles coincide, they coincide perfectly to make that angle. The same thing occurs with attention and intention. Think of those as 2 lines that are crossing in the exact and perfect place at the perfect time for you. The next is the strategy principle, which is very simple, the ask and attract. The strategy in life is radical humility. Radical humility dictates, number 1, how you can be of service, of value, and most importantly, offer your service to others. And then 2, radical humility dictates to ask for help. If you don't understand the question, do you know anyone that can help me, and utilize that in person, on the phone, via email and media, radio, print, TV, and social media. If you're not asking and attracting, you're not using the strategy of radical humility, you're not going to allow things to happen. Remember, there's only one thing that stands in your way between that possibility, that probability, and your perspective or reality. That's you. And so that we need to utilize the strategy as well as the awareness to do that. And finally, the last principle, materialization. Materialization is your true ability to monetize things. Money doesn't buy happiness, but allows you to shop. It allows you to vote. It allows you to manifest. At this vibration, it is the currency of this vibration. That's the energy or object of energy, what we put into the flow to get what we want. If you're not focused on understanding that currency, the currency of money combined with the currency of faith, what we think, say, do, believe, and of course the unconscious competencies of our personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, all of those aggregating together, faith and money, we now can materialize our possibilities to probability with inspiration and the probability to our perspective or our reality. The key to the 7 principles that I just discussed is understanding the distinction between the truth and the ego. Understanding how the truth principles of keeping consistent and enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential in order to effectuate utilizing the 7 principles of manifestation, shopping, and voting what you want.
What advice do you have for building a positive mindset?
So anything that you want to do to effectuate the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum takes practice. We need to do things every day. In order to do them every day, we need to lower the bar. We need to prioritize what we want to do by what's important first. So in order to do and to be, you need to practice that, understand, and be aware of where and when you're in the ego-based consciousness, which means understanding the needs of what you have that get in your way, that cause an interference or corrosion to the connection that inspires you. Could be a need to be right, could be a need to be offended, could be a need to resent people, angry, frustrated, anxious, separate, could be a need to be inferior. I'm not worthy. Or it could be a need to be superior, which is most intended to be the egotistical nature of being better than or separate from. So all of these different needs, when we raise our awareness of what those needs are and what our ego is working at, when we can utilize our higher frequency to go back to center, we can then practice this and get better and better. It's a muscle that gets stronger and stronger the older we get. So it's not like other muscles that will depreciate and diminish over age. It only gets better and better. So at 95, you should be better than 25.
Why do you have the requirement that any business project you work on has a charitable aspect or partner?
Tied into compassionate capitalism, I believe by having that requirement, I consistently have to challenge myself to make sure that all the capitalistic ventures that I get into are tied to, just as I write about and hopefully inspire others to do, so that I tend not to be a hypocrite, but to live by my own words, to challenge myself to make sure I'm tying all of my capitalistic journeys and ventures into helping other people and having fun.
Can you please share the basis of compassionate capitalism?
So it's shifting the paradigm of value. The basis of compassionate capitalism is knowing that that currency, right, the object of energy in which you put into the flow, money, is super important. And capitalism is about making more money, accelerating and exponentially growing our economy. And the goal of that economy is to make more money so we can help more people and have more fun. Compassionate capitalism says, why not challenge ourselves to not only make a lot of money, but to tie every dollar into helping someone else, into providing value or service to someone else, to be a merchant leader, a merchant servant, to put the CEO at the bottom of the org chart and serving their way up in order to effectuate economic goals in order which to help other people or our environment or other social causes in order to have more fun or create abundance. So compassionate capitalism is a challenge to take capitalism to the next level of not just making money, but making money for the right reasons, the right impact, and with the right capabilities that creates abundance, not scarcity, and helps everyone.
How can you build offensive and defensive strategies for branding and marketing?
In my latest book, one of the bestsellers in the new releases, Game Time Decision Making, the offense and defensive of marketing is really simple. The offensive marketing is to ask how you can be of service or of help, tied into compassionate capitalism. If we could ask, and it's not necessarily being as blatant or obsequious as saying, hey, how can I help you? How can I be of service? What value can I provide? But more importantly, utilizing open and closed ended questions to find out what people are doing today, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, which causes an emotional attachment because people bound emotion for logical reasons. If you, though, can figure out by asking closed-ended and open-ended questions what people are doing today, what value it has to you, and how you can connect them or create and offer them value and productivity and accessibility, then you can do the defensive side of marketing, which is, do you know anyone that can help me? So the ask and attract, the ask itself is the offense, the attract, meaning that you now have created a void by being of service of value, and you now can attract what you want simply by a subtle question of, do you know anyone that can help fill the void of productivity and accessibility, the void of value that I just provided to you for me?
Can you please share what it feels like to lose $100 million?
To me, because I went through my transformation, my quantum shift 2 years before I lost everything, and because the $100 million was on paper through real estate, stocks, and other things, uh, you know, it was one of the biggest blessings of my life. It taught me the greatest lesson of perspective, to find the light, to find the positive in everything that's happening to me, and to find the lessons in them. And if I can find the lessons in it and I have forgiveness, losing all that money was the best thing that ever happened to me. It strengthened my relationship with my wife, with my mom. It strengthened my relationship with the universe and with my community. It strengthened my university with my relationship with self. There's so many great lessons that I learned, and I expanded and grew so fast. Money is a renewable resource. I made it back quicker than ever. I still make it as if it's coming in a flow that's unbelievable. And I want to teach other people how to get into that flow and to manifest or to shop or to vote what they want in the context of money, currency, that object of energy that we put into the flow. It is the best thing that ever happened to me, because I learned to, if you could find light and positive energy and lessons and losing everything you have, you can do anything you want with that perspective. And that's why you find the most successful people have learned to find the light in challenges, and unsuccessful people can't see it. They focus in on what they don't want or put faith in what other people want for them. And then when they get that, they're resentful, negative, and offended.
Is there a certain level of disconnect when losing this amount of money where it doesn't feel real?
Everything's an illusion, especially those valuations. Remember, what things are actually worth is what somebody's willing to pay for it. So until you actually transfer it for a dollar amount, I could be and tell you that I lost $1 billion.
Yeah.
But just because the banks and the mortgage companies valued my properties and equities over $100 million doesn't mean I lost $100 million. It was the liquidity that I had and the assets that I had that really hurt, because those are much more real in their perspective of losing them. But nonetheless, I found the light in it, and it's still the best thing that ever happened to me.
Why should family come first in life?
That's a great question. So I lived almost my entire life up until 2.5 years ago thinking that family should always come first. I changed my perspective. So I hate to throw a wrench into my own philosophies, but I'm continually growing, learning, and evolving. Health comes first. Health, I asked my wife 2.5 years ago, as we've completely recovered economically as well as spiritually. And I told my wife that I never dreamed of a life as abundant and as happy as the one that I lead. And I said, is there anything, and I credit her for so much of it, saving my life, guiding me into a spiritual journey, into an enlightenment of what's important. After 15 years of marriage, of her telling me that I was lost, I now, after 22 marriage, understand the perspective that she has, and then utilizing my capabilities, live an extraordinary life. But I asked my wife, what can I do for you? How can I be of service? I'll do anything in appreciation and respect for what you've done for me. What can I do for you? Family is first. And she said, no, not anymore. She said, I want you to take care of yourself first. Because if you take care of yourself, I know you will now take care of everyone else. And so I put health first. I do a minimum of an hour a day towards my health. Everything in my life comes through me for others. So I need to take care of self first, then family, then my business, then my community, then my state, then my country, and then the world. And I predetermine the disposition and distribution of everything that I have emotionally, economically, through me to those channels in a certain percentage, so I can take my emotion out of it and live a completely abundant life and keep on expanding and accelerating, and most importantly, being happy.
So, do you think focusing on yourself is vital in order to build a successful foundational base for the other aspects in your life?
Absolutely. You cannot give what you don't have. So I will focus on my own gratitude, my own forgiveness, my own accountability, my own love and inspiration. And the more that I have in my own money, the more that I have, the more I can give. And it can come through me for others. And I can have a substantial impact my entire life by focusing in on me and my inner self and my happiness and what I want, and especially my health. Because if I'm not here, I'm no good.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
More.
You
No.
podcast.